guys, it's Prickly Hedgehog here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again for another week for updates and thoughts and opinions on DCS World right now, and this week being no different. I was hoping to bring you this video last night, but by the time I got home from the gym, I was pretty exhausted. It's been a long week, been a very busy week, just barely treading water at work right now. My wife was working on a puzzle, decompressing, so I helped her with that. I took in a couple of these really nice Belgian dark ales, and then I watched a little bit of TV, some stupid show that I've been watching, which I actually kind of enjoy because it's just, chewing gum for the eyes and the brain. And then suddenly it was bedtime because I was just exhausted. So apologies for that, but here we are again, back into it, and we have lots and lots of exciting news. Kind of a recap of things that have already been discussed, so I don't want to dwell too much, but DCS and Eagle Dynamics are very excited about what's going on right now, and as they have said in the email, they were very pleased about 2019, but we've got a lot of exciting things in store for 2020, which includes, as I have previously discussed, the P-47 Thunderbolt, the Mosquito, which is gorgeous. That's going to be highly anticipated, I think. It's a fantastic looking aircraft, one of the more iconic ones of World War II. The Mi-24P Hind. Why are the British so good at making really attractive looking aircraft during that period? They have a knack for, it's like they're kind of like, this shouldn't be a thing of beauty like most of the other aircraft in World War II, and obviously there are exceptions, and I don't want to detract from other manufacturers or nations during that period. I think the Messerschmitt looks kind of cool, but it's more functional compared to, say, the Spitfire, which has a gorgeous look about it, and the Mosquito is the same way. They sort of like have this, we're going to, kill you stylistically, we're going to make it an art, my dear old boy. I know, I don't know if they just, their aircraft designers just, have this innate ability to do that, but I'm not trying to be facetious, but there's just a beauty to some of their aircraft that I don't see quite so much. Maybe it's a bias, I don't know, but that I don't see quite so much in other nations during that period. But I think in most cases, a lot of those aircraft it was a matter of function rather than art. It was just necessary to create something that did the job and didn't necessarily look attractive because there wasn't time for that. You needed a thing that did the job. Whereas the British, a couple of their aircraft at least, were like, well, yeah, it's going to do that, and it's also going to look fucking cool while it's doing it. So anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. So the Hind as well, that helicopter, and that's an ugly beast of a thing if we're getting into aesthetics, but I love that aircraft too. I can't wait to see it in the game. And of course, they're continuing to work on the F-18C Hornet and the F-16 Viper, the air-to-ground radar, the forward-looking infrared sensors, the FLIR, and the enhanced missile dynamics and behavior that needs to come as part of that. Now, thank you for those people that were listening very carefully to my videos. Some people are very, very astute and very carefully listened and heard that I had referred to the Viper as the F-16 Fighting Eagle, which was a brain fart, not correct. It is in fact the F-16 Fighting Falcon, or more commonly known amongst pilots, the Viper, because of its handling characteristics and ability to do very well in BFM situations. So, there you have it. Was a brain fart. Alright, moving on. We will also see detailed aircraft carrier operations with the supercarrier, which I'm very much looking forward to, of course, especially if you're an F-14 or F-18 pilot. That's going to be neat. And the Marianas Islands map and the channel map, free maps here that are going to be added to the game. I didn't know that the channel map was free. Maybe I misread that. So, yeah, stay tuned on that one. If that's free, then that's cool. Well done, Eagle Dynamics. Obviously, they're going to update the A-10C Warthog and the Ka-50 Black Shark, which includes the free Cockpit update coming very soon. Although, while there will be a free Cockpit update, the full rendering of both of those aircraft are going to be new modules, so to speak. They will be pay modules. Of course, if you own one already, there will be a discount on that, but I don't have the final prices for you just yet, so stay tuned. Hopefully it's a good one. They said a substantial discount, but I don't know what that means. So hopefully substantial to me means the same thing to Eagle Dynamics, which I doubt. But moving along. Now, most of the Eagle Dynamics team will be focused on DCS World core improvements to lighting and weather. Now, I think obviously, and I've speculated this, that this is a direct response to Microsoft's Flight Simulator for 2020, which of course is looking absolutely outstanding. The level of realism is, on a whole new level. We haven't seen anything like this previously. DCS comes close, but they're a hop, skip, and a jump away from what Microsoft is showing us. Of course, Microsoft has billions of dollars that they can throw at this particular game, if you like, or simulator that they're going to produce, and I suspect that it will probably have commercial use as well, that kind of software. So it's a big investment for them, but probably well worth the payoff. But DCS, in their own way, have they do very well. They do a very nice job considering the size of the studio compared to Microsoft. Let's be real. So again, improvements to the environment I think are going to be very, very useful. And one of the things they have talked about, hopefully this comes to fruition too, if you're not familiar, the game at this time doesn't take full advantage, unfortunately, of the... I need to lower my chair here, sorry. I think my chair is broken. It keeps climbing its way back up, which is better than climbing its way back down, which I had one time when I was testifying in court. And the chair kept slipping down, and I found myself peering over the table in the courtroom, which kind of put me at a tactical disadvantage, I felt. Anyway, it was comical. Anyway, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. But anyway, I would like to see this improvement. The architecture, like I said, the software doesn't take advantage of the hardware architecture that is available. There is some stuttering in the game for me, even though I have a pretty beefy system, and that's frustrating. But there's one mission that you can fly with the F-14, and there's about 50 cruise missiles that get fired at various targets on the Caucasus map, and the game slows to a chloroform snail speed, which is not ideal when you're trying to run a mission like that. So once the missiles hit their targets, then the game kind of frees up again. So it's just overloading the software is just not taking advantage of the architecture, and it's sort of overloading. And I've seen things like it's not able to automatically sometimes switch to the multi-core, and so it's only using one or two cores of a multi-core system, which also slows things down, so be aware of that. And there's fixes for that too that you can do in-game. But anyway, again, I digress. So, moving on to the damage modeling engine, which they're also talking about, which is greatly going to improve that. They're going to start with the World War II aircraft, but it will move to the jet aircraft as well, so stay tuned for that. They're also working very hard to improve the airfield, air traffic control stuff, to make that more lifelike with the AI and new AI units. And of course, here's a big announcement to the dynamic campaign system, which I've talked about previously. I'm really looking forward to this. This has been something that has been missing from the game for quite a while, and I won't dwell on it because I have gone over this topic before, but I think it's going to be a massive addition to the game, and I think particularly for solo players that are not less interested or a little intimidated by multiplayer servers, and I'm one of those people. I don't want to be an embarrassment, and I probably wouldn't be, but there's that stepping off point where it's like I'm not quite ready, I don't know if I know enough, and I know there are some sort of dummy servers where you kind of newbies can kind of get involved, but I just feel I don't want to be a complete embarrassment. So a dynamic campaign system is going to be very exciting, and it'll work in a I guess it will work in a multiplayer server as well, but we don't know the final parameters of what that's going to be. Either way, for those of you that are familiar with that, basically it creates a campaign and responds and creates missions or builds missions for you to fly based on your actions in the game, and ones that I played in the past, you can actually lose the campaign if you're too much of a screw up. So it's going to be interesting to see what that comes to look like in the end, but I'm very excited about that because I think it's going to be a good addition. Anyway, third-party partners are looking at things like the F-15E Strike Eagle. We've got the MiG-23 Flogger. I think those are RASBAM projects that are being worked on as we speak. Those are going to be huge additions. I know that there's going to be a lot of excitement for the Strike Eagle. I'm very tempted by it. The F-15 is an iconic kind of aircraft. It's been around for a long, long time. It's a very, very capable platform. It's an air superiority fighter. It's designed specifically to get up in the air very, very quickly and knock down incoming enemy aircraft. And it can also do multi-role functions as well, like bomb and other, activities as well, or other strike capacities as well. So similar to the F-16, similar to the F-14 in that sense, but it's a very fast, high-flying supersonic jet and a lethal piece of equipment in the US arsenal currently. So that's going to be cool to see. The Kiowa Warrior helicopter, and also big news here, the Syria and Falklands Islands maps. I think RASBAM, as I mentioned last week or the week before, is working on the Falklands. The Syria map is by another third-party developer whose name escapes me off the top of my head, but I'm very, very interested in that, especially as an accompaniment to the Persian Gulf. I think that's very, very exciting. So we're getting some very, very, good maps to work in the environment, and in that variety is also exciting. Unfortunately, of course, they're going to be pay for things, but if you're familiar with DCS, that's kind of how it works. And if we don't support the studio and the third-party developers, well, they can't keep producing these goodies for us. Nobody can work for free. That's ridiculous. So we got to, fork out, open up the wallet, and do it. There's worse things to spend your money on at the end of the day. Now, here's the kicker. Well, not the kicker. We're going to wrap this up now, but they threw out a teaser. DCS did. Evil Dynamics threw out a little announcement, and it was a tantalizing piece of information. And they say here that, well, we've got, and we are looking forward to announcing an eagerly awaited aircraft for DCS World. This, and it's not been named, will be a highly detailed and complex aircraft representing a huge milestone. Now, what does that mean? There's been no announcement about this. We know most of the aircraft that are coming through in 2020 and beyond. So what's this fucking thing that they're talking about? How dare they tease us with this? What is going on? Now, the forums and other social media sites that are fans for DCS World lit up after yesterday's announcement, and there was mass speculation as to what this would be. I think the best educated guess would be the F4 Phantom. Now, the only reason I say this is because if I remember rightly, a while back, and I can't remember if it was Wags or somebody else from Eagle Dynamics who indicated that this was a module that they were looking at or have been quietly working on or were in the development of, something along those lines, very tentative, non-committal kind of statements that this was possibly an aircraft that they would be interested in implementing. So that kind of statement, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's true or not. It could be something else. I could be entirely wrong. But the fact that they have committed to a highly detailed and complex aircraft and representing a huge milestone means this is going to be an aircraft I suspect that they have sort of skunk works been working on in the background. And it could be one that, they were thinking about bringing out but didn't have because of other commitments, didn't have... with some other updates to the game, they thought we'll put this in the back burner and work on it with a view to releasing it when, 2.5.6 or what have you, or when we've made these other changes. I don't know. Those are sort of speculative kind of thoughts that I have. Let me know below in the comments what you think will be. I guarantee it's probably going to be the F4. But then there's just enough. I'm 66% certain it's probably what it is. Put it this way. And just based on like the stuff that I've seen over the last few years with that aircraft. But of course, I'm also worried that it's just hype from, you know, other customers and other players and other fans of the game that have been wishing for that aircraft and hoping that that's the one that they were working on, and that's what's tainting my opinion. So you let me know what you think, but that's what I think it may be, but could be entirely wrong. Which makes me then think, well, what the hell are they going to bring out? All right. Well, we're almost at the end. As I said, they threw out here the KA50 free cockpit update and development report number 13 here. This is the last segment of the announcements, and they've got a nice little picture here of it. Over the last few weeks, we've been hard at work preparing for the next big update to DCS World version 2.5.6, and this update will bring a number of highly anticipated things, one of which we can share with you now. The DCS Black Shark 2 KA50 free cockpit update. This is a completely rebuilt KA50 cockpit with new high-resolution geometry and textures. It will take advantage of new lighting and materials. It looks good and long overdue, because it's kind of a franchise that I never really got into because it was so complex. I just didn't have the time. But it looks gorgeous, and I think it will be a nice update for the game, and it will bring a little bit more life back to, you know, some modules that I have sitting there that I haven't played with for a while, and give me more incentive to look back at that. But gosh, as I said to you in my other video about time and money, there's only so many hours in a day, and I'm going to have to go back and I think I threw my manual away for the KA50. I printed it out one day, and then it's sitting there, or I think it's been recycled. So I'm going to have to go back and look back at the startup sequence and all the other bits and pieces to get this thing flying, let alone trying to control it again. Whew. Now, one more thing too. I bought something. Talking about speak of spending money and time. I actually bought a little clamp for my throttle, my Thrustmaster HOTAS. So I have a clamp now. I've been able to move it off the desk. It was actually sitting on top of the box of my computer, which was, believe it or not, tall enough to actually sustain it. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't quite high enough. I had to kind of reach for it sometimes, and in a panic, that wasn't ideal. So I bought a piece of hardware from PEIN. They're a South Korean company. It's really nicely machined. There's actually quite a few products that are relatively affordable if you are interested in kind of clearing off stuff off your desk and kind of putting it next to you, closer to what a real cockpit would be like. And yeah, I'd recommend that. There's other products out there that are similarly priced. They're not cheap. I'm not going to say that. I think it was about $70. It was on sale, I think, from $100. A little bit fiddly to put together, I'm not going to lie. It took me about an hour and a half of fluffing around with it, in part because I wasn't completely focused on that sole task. But nevertheless, we got it together, got it working, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good, and I'll take it for the price. Like I said, there's other modules or similar products out there that do a similar function that are a little bit more expensive, but I'm happy with what I purchased, so just a recommendation there. All right, that's enough. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, stay safe out there, keep on flying, and I appreciate the likes and subscribe. You guys blew me away last week. I couldn't believe the number of likes, and I couldn't believe the number of subscriptions that I got. That really pushed me well over the 1,000. I wasn't expecting that, so I will keep bringing you content as I can. I was hoping to bring you content this week, but I just did not have the time, and I apologize for that. Thank you. Thank you for all those subscriptions and likes and comments. That's enough. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you out there. As always, stay safe, stay flying. We'll see you around.